He's had a battle through the crowd, but he's here. Always got to give him a shot. So great to see Ollie up here. Our second legend tonight, Pinger also is Pinger. Pinger had to leave, I think. Pinger had to bowl, so we'll just he had to bang down. He's running down the stairs there. Our second legend, and actually before I go on, guys, just a bit of shush, and if you would. We're remiss of me not to mention Oldie being named in the West Australian Country Football League biggest ever country team. Well done, mate, what a winner. And of course, Terry House from the club and Olish Cow were also named in that team, so big congratulations to those. Next to our legend around the club and the current the Crowder Medal winner, Mr. Wayne Watterson. Watto. 250 gamer. 6-time premiership player, loves a chat, Hayward medalist, Eastern Districts, Miller medal, life member, and he's twice won the Crowder medal, and that is just outstanding. So big round of applause for Watto. This guy needs no introduction. I may have to wrestle my microphone off him. But a true legend, and great to have him up here on stage where he gets to grab on the microphone and share some stories. But would you please welcome Mr. Arthur Buswell up to the stage. 2 league games, 10 consecutive reserve grand finals, premierships. 40-year service award for the West Australian Country Football League. He was the GM here for 6 years, president for 5 years, a league delegate for 34 years, life member of the Junior Football Council, a junior coach for 30 years, the trustee here for 10 years, patron for 1 year, and a self-only life member from 1964. So big round of applause for Arch, please. Pretty outstanding credentials there. So grab a mic if you can, Arch. We want to know a few things about these legends. You got a mic? Turn it on, mate. Test it. Turn it on, Arch. You know, mic.
Testing, 1, 2, 6.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm on the way.
It's a microphone,
Archie, if we can tell us all, and please remember guys, a bit of respect while these legends of the club are talking. What accomplishment in that amazing credentials that I just read out, what was the accomplishment that meant the most to you? Maybe not the greatest one, the one that meant the most to you.
The thing that meant the most to me was to be president of the club in 1984, where we won 3 premierships on the one day.
Fantastic. And the reunions this year, so well done. We didn't script that. Why was that so obviously the feat, but what?
It's never been done. Never been done since. And I think the thing that I probably remember and always will remember that nobody's ever had the opportunity to go out on the premiership days 3 times in one day and to be able to get 3 pennants,
for checks.
Well, it wasn't only that. We won everything else that was going. I think Oldie won about 5 medals that year. We won the Hayward medal. Runner-up in the Hayward medal. Oldie won the Hayward medal. Clayton Lewis was runner-up. Philip Morris had 2 cups, which went to the team that was on top of the ladder in the first round. The second round, we won that. The only thing that really shoot me off was at the league presentation when they gave the pennants held down at the commercial club. There was myself, Bob Hanna, Brent Roberts, and Gerald McNeil, who was the coach of the club. And we went up to get the pennant, the league pennant, and everybody in the room started laughing. And the league balls it all up because North Albany had won the premiership. They were also red and white. They were the premiership pennant and had premiers North Albany.
Have we still got that one?
No, they sent the bloody thing back because they got ours, we got theirs.
It's a collector's item now.
Well, yeah, but
Why was that year so special, Arch? What made the difference that year?
well, when I became president of the footy club, it was Dr. Munir actually asked me to take the job on, and everyone knew Doc, what Doc was like and everything else. And he asked me about my ideas, and he sat down with me for about an hour or so. We went through a lot of things. And the one thing I said to him, I said, look, I think the club's got to a point where we've got to make some changes. And we did that. And it's very funny. A lot of people don't like it when you make the hard decisions. And we made the hard decisions, and we didn't sack any coach. We just didn't renew their contracts. And probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my involvement with South Bunbury was to go and tell John DiPiazzi he would not be coaching, and to go and tell Brian Cunningham that he would not be a selector. Those people were absolute icons. But when McNeil came here, he wanted to go in a different direction. I mean, these two guys here played in that side, and they'd probably back up what I'm saying, because he was a coach, he brought professionalism here that we've never seen before. And he just had the ability to get the club together. You know, he was just one of the best guys that you could ever wish. You know, we done a few things, and he wanted one player. I spoke to him about after we played a couple of scratch matches, and I said how things were going. And he said I wouldn't mind a running player. So he gave me a telephone. I've got to tell you this story.
You know why you got older, you running like
No, because he said, I want you to ring this bloke, because I said he might be interested. And so I rang him the next day and asked him could he be at Jandakot Airport on the Thursday morning. We flew him down at a cost of $86. I'll never forget that, $86 it cost us. And before he left Bunbury, we took him out for lunch, showed him around here, took him around town. And he was probably one of the most hardest hitting and the best players that I've seen the club ever recruit, Clayton Lewis. And Louis was the kind of bloke that he had blokes shit scared of him. He really was. He was as tough as they come. And he fitted into the club so well. The funny part, I went to the next league meeting and Colin Damiani, who was president of Boyne, got right up me. And he did get up me because, unbeknown to us, Boyne covered Dartmouth had been speaking to him for a month, but they couldn't come to any agreement. So they buggerised around with him. Of course, he gets up in front of all the delegates and said that we were the biggest lot of dickheads that ever walked as we've done. I said, in front of everyone, I said, look, what you've got to learn to do, mate, is to run your business a little bit better. So they'd been buggerised around him for a month. We flew him down, had him signed up in 2 hours, and I think what I would agree, he hit a bloke from Harvey one day, and I think he would have hit him back to Rollins. He played by the name of Shine. I don't think he ever played again, but Louis was the kind of player that blokes were generally frightened of him, because just the way that he played. And,
what are you memories from that on the back of what Art just said?
Before Arthur finishes, Arthur, tell them about the tyres that Louis
Jesus, yeah. Louis was a bloke that he loved bloody money and he loved spending it. The only trouble half the time was never is to spend it. And Pete Robson would know this, because after every game, Bob Hanna would come up to him and say to me, whose is it yours or his? Because we had an arrangement, Louis, we would pay him on a weekly basis, because the bugger wouldn't work. Anyway, he pulled in to my workshop one day and he said to me, Arthur, he said, I want you to do me a favour. And I said, what? He said, I've got to get some new tyres on the car. And I went out and had a look. The only seat that was in the motor car was the driver's seat. There was nothing else, no back seat, no passenger seat, nothing. So I said to Louis, where's the bloody licence? Oh, he says, not licensed. Anyway, as it turned out, it was Chris's motor car, Chris Lewis's, his brother. So I thought, oh, bugger me there, what am I going to do there? I thought, all right. So I rang Brent Roberts down at Murray Test and I said, I've got Louis coming down. I want you to just put on ordinary tyres on his motor car. Don't go in, no, that'll be all right. So we made arrangements, we take it out of his match bonus. So I come here on the Friday night, he grabbed me by the shoulder and took me out and come and have a look. He said, come and have a look. And here we expect to spend about $800. He's got these bloody great big rims, he's got tyres about a foot wide. We got a bill for $2,400. And I said to him, and never met one little, don't worry about it, he said, don't worry about it. He said, I'll come back and we'll play a few more games. He said, and so that was what he liked. We just got a bill for about $2,500. He had this big bloody silver rims, big white tyres. Of course, he had to get 5, not 4. And in the car, the bloody car's still not licensed. That was the worst part of that. And I said, you're going to get picked up. Don't worry about it. Shit. Don't worry. That's all he'd say. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about the camaraderie back at that time, mate?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, the playing group now, the dynamics of 1 year just changes so much, and you've got to really appreciate what it means. I mean, this reunion, 84 reunion 30 years later, and I'm hoping that the playing group now in 30 years' time will have the enjoyment that we're going to have when these boys come back together, because that bond stays with you forever and a day, and it's really special. But and there's so many characters in the club, and JR. JR's just sensational. JR, I think he went up to Kalamunda and played some footy up there. This bloke was leading goal kicker. He was winning by 15 goals, and JR decided to play the last few games, and this bloke, they rested this bloke. He's leading goal kicking, 15 goals ahead. He's going to win the goal kicking. But JR played the last game, and he kicked about 24 for the game. And he won the goal kick, and this bloke was pissed off because he was rested for the final. So he's just one of them. JR invites us all back to play cards at his place. So as a great group, we like you blokes stick together, which is fantastic. Which I love what I see here, the culture. So we go to JR's place, and we get to JR's place playing cards, and JR's hasn't paid the SEC bill. So all the boys pulled up, had high beams on, and we're all trying to see our cards, from the outside. The bloke sitting on the other side had to show everyone the cards, so it's stuff the whole night. But we had some great characters, and you do have fun with footy, and you have fun, but the fun is after you get the result. And I've been fortunate in footy. Seven premierships, all winning ones, and everyone's so different, fellas. And I look around here and see all this great facilities. This is magnificent. When I came from Busselton in 79, I played a year in Busselton. 6 weeks into the footy career in Busselton, Arthur Buswell and Kevin Earp came down and said, would you like to play for South Bunbury? And my old man won a fairest and best with Bunbury in 1955. And he said to me, don't go to any other club, you come to South Bunbury. And so 6 games into that season, the year I was lucky enough to win the Hayward Medal, I knew where I was coming to South Bunbury. And it was the best work I've ever had in my life. And from then on, the camaraderie you get with some of the friends. I've got so many friends out of footy, but this club here is special. It's just,
It's interesting you say that, one, because we sent the invite out, just the initial invite, or the expression of interest on the 84 Triple Premiership reunion. We've got a whole weekend planned for the club. But Clayton Lewis, JR, the guys you mentioned, Jerry McNeil, the first guys to come back and say, don't care when it is, what it is, we will be there, no matter what, and they'll drag everyone else with them. And that's 30 years down the track, so it just shows a testament to that camaraderie.
Well, Jerry's over in Melbourne, and he's got a business over there, and they've changed the date. Oldie and I are off to Europe in July the 4th, and they've changed the date to accommodate us, and Jerry said it doesn't matter, I'm still coming. So.
It's a great story that we actually had a date set for further in the season, but they insisted that these two guys would be there, so they made us scrap everything, reset the date, so these two guys could be here, and that's real camaraderie. It's a great story.
A couple of funny stories. This is, Ping's not here now, but '84, I complained to management about the showers. You know, the showers fell asleep, they're hot and cold, and and I didn't realise what was happening. 15 games in, and I always get in the shower between Pinga and Oldie after training and have a good old talk, what's happening, and what the game's coming up, and they'd go cold, hot, really hot, and I used to come back to management and say, oh, you got to fix these showers. Anyway, 15 games in, I'm yapping away, and I realised what had happened. I'm right between Oldie and Pinga, and it's the old look away piss, they're pissing on me. And I realised what had happened, so it was disappointing. That's true. Funniest thing happened to me. This oval here, fellas, down at Housing Street End. You ever see, in the old days, you used to get a big puddle there during the winter months. Anyway, one night training, big puddle down there, I said to all the blokes, hey, listen, when you go down the other end, last lap before we come in for a shower, get Oldie and pull him into that puddle. So I thought, shit, I've got to get out of here, it's not going to be pretty here. So I went in for a shower. All the boys ran around to the Housing Street end, which of course what they did, they pulled Oldie in. But guess how many went in with Oldie? About 15 of them. Anyway, come in and I said to Oldie, what happened to you? He said, oh, the bastards, they bloody got me in that big puddle. I said, that's Pancho organised that, Peter Buswell. So Oldie, grabbed Pancho's brand new clothes. Pancho's come up here for selection night. He's had brand new clothes to come up here and look great. Oldie's grabbed his new clothes and started wiping all the mud off. Pancho's come out of the shower and said, what are you doing? What are you doing? He said, you got me in that bloody puddle down there, Pancho. He said, bullshit, it was Watto. Anyway, guess where I was? I didn't come upstairs that night. I went home and watched
Don, what about you, mate? And again, from everyone here in the room, what a great accolade in the South West Best ever, mate. So well done, and take us back to some of the memories from that time.
Well, back in those days, you could probably understand why we called Watto Maggot. That wasn't the only tricks that he pulled and blamed on other people. So, look, just going on, I'd just like to touch on Clayton Lewis, and Archie did mention that people feared him, but it wasn't through dirty play or anything. We talked about down here, contested ball. His approach to the footy was just unbelievable, and guys feared him not through any dirt or he was just a hard, tough player. And if you got in his way, he just went straight through you. And so there was no dirt or malice or anything. It was just the way he played. He's a great person to have.
He hit it hard.
He hit it hard. He hit it hard on the footy field and on socially. So, and just another story on JR. We did go up to Nanga Bush camp for our pre-season training, and there was a $50 reward.
Sorry, mate, Nanga Bush?
Nanga Bush.
Where's Nanga Bush?
Dwellingham. So we had a pre-season camp up there, and there was a $50 reward. They had an obstacle course there, and we said, well, who's got the record? And the bloke said, well, the bloke from the SAS, he's the champion, and no one's gone near it. There's $50 up on the thing there. At the end of the training camp, anyone wants to have a crack the trophy there can have a shot. So we've had a big weekend, and it was really hard and tough. And then the bloke reminds us, well, the $50 there, anyone want to have a crack? And this was the old SAS type course. And JR says, yeah, I'll have a crack. So JR's got there, and you're supposed to shimmy up this 30-foot tree. JR's jumped on it and ran up it. Then you're supposed to go down on the rope for 30 foot. JR's jumped. And he's beaten the record, this bloke on the SAS, for about 25 seconds. So it was just amazing to see. JR was just one of no fear whatsoever. It was,
You're talking about extraordinary characters. For the guys that are in the current playing group, and anyone playing sport today, you get all the good stuff. What were the biggest challenges back then? Because quite often we've got a lot of talented footballers around and netballers around the Bunbury area. There's not much difference between the top teams. And so they're all highly skilled, highly fit, highly trained. Is it getting over those biggest challenges during the season that gets you the ultimate prize? And what were the challenges you guys faced?
For me, the thing that stood out and been touched on was the camaraderie. One of the great things in the era that I played, and I was lucky to play with some great characters and great footballers. The thing that probably stood out for me was the standard that the players themselves put on themselves. It wasn't so much the coaches. Sure, the coaches had their ideals and that, but you had blokes like Watto on your back, You know what his godly eyes are. If you do something wrong, you cop that. But we just had this great.
So it's like a self-regulation, or you're saying you keep each other honest.
Yeah, definitely. And look, there's like sheriffs in the room, he could probably attest to that in those eras when really the coaches coached and we set the standard ourselves. And I'm not saying myself, but certainly learned from guys how to train properly and the rewards that came from it. I think that's what separated us from the other teams. And look, we'd go out at night sometimes and socialise, and you'd hear other teams, you mix with some players from other teams, and they talk about their teammates in a derogatory way and the like, whereas we'd never ever stand for that. You know, if we had anything in-house that stayed in-house, we never took it outside. And to me, that was always a weakness to other clubs, and I used to think, you weak bastards, you know, you're doing that to your teammates.
And it's interesting going through those workshops and planning the strategic vision for this club. You see that unity was one of the values that came out very quickly. That is, we live and die together all as one. That's what you're saying made a difference.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
What about you, mate? Some of the biggest challenges in those times? The things that were hard, you know, obstacles you had to overcome.
Yeah, well, the playing group you'd go to war with because of that type of people, and I think we've got it there now. I can see that now we've got it because you've got to live for each other, you've got to believe in each other. As Oldie said, you go out and have your fun, and then you stick up for each other. You know, someone gets dropped and someone says, oh, he shouldn't be playing, that's bullshit. You say, no, he should be playing. I'm the one who's got to do the work to get back into that spot. It's that sort of bond that if you blokes have got it, you'll have the same success we've had.
What about from your perspective? What's the challenges you had to overcome in those halcyon days?
The biggest challenge I found was that I was on the board in 1980, the first time that the club went through undefeated under Jock DiPiazza. And I think everyone involved in the game said, you won't see that again. It's not going to happen again. Well, we've done it 3 times. But to try and keep the momentum going, probably say from 3/4 of the way into the football season to the end was the hardest thing to do. And I can tell you, look, especially from an administration point of view, I mean, you just didn't sleep and wonder though, look, is it going to happen? When's it going to happen? Is it going to happen on the grand final? I mean, how would you be going through? And that was probably the hardest thing that I ever found. But in saying that, after being a delegate for so long, when you go to the league meetings and you know how some of those blokes there are thinking, you know, and you believe me, even to this day, and I only went to a meeting 3-4 weeks ago, and everyone wonders what we're doing. You believe me. Everyone wonders what we're doing. And when I was down there, Mines Rovers had 2 delegates. One was called Jimmy Stevens and Doug Goldman, and they just bloody hated coming over the hill. They hated playing football in public. And the club was so successful during the 80s especially. And he asked a question one night at a league meeting to the president, who was Bernie Cunningham, and he said, and I'm only 5'5", but I can tell you, I felt about 12 foot tall. And the question he put to everybody was, to the league, what did the league intend to do about the success of the South Bunbury Football Club? Now, you'd have to be bloody crazy to go and say something like that, wouldn't you?
Standing ovation, mate.
And so that's how they felt, you know. And Doug Goldman was the bloke. Doug Goldman was the bloke that he used to sit there and you'd look at him and he used to go to sleep. Oh, you bloody hopeless, right?
Not much has changed at this age.
But we had a 2-delegate system. There was myself and Barney McNally. You know Barney? Yeah. He was president of the club all the time. Anyway, old Doug sitting in this and he's doing this, and someone had moved a motion, and all of a sudden Doug woke up. Oh, Mr. President, he said, Mr. President, he said, what was our last motion about? And Barney just casually said, geez, Doug, why don't you get the coal dust out of your ears? And he replied, Barney, it's better than having seaweed hanging out your arsehole. They were the kind of blokes that you're down there with them, you had to deal with them.
I'm keen to hear, great story, Arch. I'm keen to hear from Watto. best advice you were ever given back in those days? And I ask you because you guys are mentors around the club. You've been involved, you're back, and you're paying it forward and giving it to our juniors and helping them. Think back, what was some of the best advice you ever got in those days?
Well, coming over here, like my first year, I had some great coaches, and I think the best advice was, the best advice I ever got was to come CFO, really. That was in the early days, but I had some great coaches, and not only great coaches, but also great players around me that whenever you're down, some of my teammates always were there to pick me up. I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are in footy, there's always those moments you go through the lows, but it's, I think the advice and the encouragement I had from my teammates was the best thing that you could ever have, because when you're down and when you're under pressure, fellas, that's when everything drops, you talk and everything, you know that yourself, but back in those days, Sheriff would vouch for this, we had some of the most talented players, and there's always someone that has a lull, but there's always someone to step in and pick you up, and I reckon the encouragement from my teammates was the best thing that happened during those days.
Yeah, fantastic. Ollie, what about you? Some of the best advice you ever got in those times?
Well, I'll go back to a team environment, one that we had that sort of stands out. We're probably struggling a little bit, I can't remember which year it was, Snake, John Bebiesi, and he's got us all in there, in the room there, and he's talking to all of us, and a few of the younger guys have been out to piss a few nights, and we didn't get the results that we wanted. I think the one have gone out once or twice, but anyway, yeah. Snake in his all his passion just got us in there, and he just gave us a razzing about people who are non-achievers trying to bring down successful people, and he said to you young blokes in this room here, you've got barflies for mates, most of you. Those blokes you're hanging around with, they're going to end up nothing. Do you want to end up like them in 30 years? You've got an opportunity in this club. You've got to make a choice. It's them or the footy club. And you really go on the line. I can't say some of the words that Snake did say, but as we're walking out, Rod McDougall come up to Rod and I and said, "I've got to get rid of all of my mates." And to Ron McDougall's credit, he did, and he had a great year from there. But it was a great thing. Were you there, Sheriff, and that was fun?
Great story.
Great.
Another one who'll be attending the 84 year, Ron McDougall. He's already said he's can't wait to catch up. You guys obviously are very inspirational out of the club, and all three of you. And I know people in this room draw a great deal of inspiration from you. Where do you draw your inspiration from? What inspires you guys? Is it moments? Is it people? Is it things that happen around the club? Where do you get your inspiration when you're around the club?
I just think the culture of the club. Although we haven't probably had the success the last few years, the inspiration, the culture of the club, the passion of the people, the volunteers, everyone that puts in that hard work, really does. It did, particularly when I was a player, drive me. You had your blowflies, Colin Buswells, and just the people that put in so much time and effort, and the only reward that they got was seeing us be successful. And I really do. I felt as a player I had an obligation to give everything to those sort of people.
Is it why you still give so much back to the club today?
Oh yeah, and look, I've had so much success because of the other players around me and the people at the footy club, so it's about trying to give something back, and I think we can all give back regardless of whether we're successful or unsuccessful, or we've all got something to give, and I see that as my obligation for the success that I had. Yeah.
Fantastic. What about you? What inspiration? Where do you draw it from?
Exactly what Ollie said. I love this club, and I get passionate about it all the time, and I love seeing young people develop, not only in footy, fellas, just to grow up as a good citizen. I love the way the club's run, and I'm fortunate. This is a great home, and You know, you don't, I hope that 30 years on, someone else like Matriarchi might be up here talking and have the same opportunity that I have.
We like that. It's a good idea.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. I'll be gone, they'll say, do you remember that bloke with goggly eyes and talking underwater with a mouthful of marbles? Saying that, and I know that I've left some mark here because I'm just passionate. Never change, never will, and just love this club. So.
And how good is it seeing guys like Sheriff and Pinger now actually formally putting programs together, getting great sponsorships from our supporters and developing our youth from the beginning when they engage with the club.
That's what it's all about. I mean, I get a tickle sitting up here. You know what the best thing's going to be, Sheriff? We're going to be sitting at that bar come October, mate, sitting up there having a scotch, and these blokes are going to be celebrating, and we're going to be joining in.
What about you, Arch? What inspires you around the club? What inspires you back then and what inspires you today around the footy club?
I think the one that inspired me was Ernie Manere.
The Doc,
Yeah.
of course. And we'll have a memorial game for the Doc this year, actually.
Yeah.
A special moment.
You know, he was the one that, I won't say he caught me, but he was the one that asked me to take on the president of the football club, and he gave me so much advice, and you know, if I ever felt that I had a problem, I was always free because I had his phone number and I could drink with him and I could talk with him. He taught me, right from the word go, he taught me three things, which I always tried to believe in and tried to do in the years that I was involved as the president and then the general manager, that never be frightened to make the hard decisions. And I think there are a lot of football clubs who are shit scared to make the decision because, you know, players say, I think should be playing in the league, so or should be playing in this position, you know. But make the hard decision. And people don't realise, and I only had a look at it there tonight, in the last 14 premierships that we've won, we've only had 3 players from South Bunbury that have been involved with it. Everyone that we've got, and you can go through, if you want, you can go right from people like Gerard McNeil, Merv Kennedy, Stephen Bilsich, Peter Hodel, Gerard McNeil, you can keep going. All those players have been new to the club. And I'm not saying that the local guys are good. I mean, Oldie was fortunate enough to win one. John DiPiazzi won 2, Ray Rendell won 1. All the rest are for coaches that we went and got. You know, I can remember when, in 1983 for instance, and I just felt as president of the club we weren't going in the right direction. They'd lost their focus. So I made a very quick telephone call to a bloke by the name of Trevor Nesbitt. Just out of the blue. Just said, Nettie, I'm looking for a football coach. He left it with me for a couple of days. Who popped up? McNeil. We brought him down, we spoke to him, interviewed him. And the one thing that we did do, when he left to go home, we gave him a copy of the South Saga. And he read that. And the night that he came here to be introduced to all the players and the members, he mentioned some things out of the South Saga. And as soon as he done that, he won this football club over. Absolutely no doubt. When Neil, after 2 years, and look, we would have given him another 3 because he was a terrific coach. And nothing against the coaches that we've got, but he was a terrific coach. We thought, well, what's going to... And everyone, don't worry, not only South Bunbury people, all the other clubs thought, well, that's going to be the end of the South because McNeil's gone. So what do we do? Done the same thing again. This time I run Bill Walker, who, you know, I got to know Bill because of the relationship with Swan Districts and South at the time. And he just said, leave it with a couple of days. And people don't realise that the name come up Peter Hodel. Now Peter Hodel was given his marching orders by John Todd and said that, and he was going to go to Victoria. So we went, spoke to him, he took the job. After he finished here, he went back to captain the Swan Districts Football Club.
Yeah, the premiership, now vice president of
Don't get much
Swan Districts Football Club.
So when you get a bloke that we've given us marching orders,
President of the club.
what can you do? And the same with Gerald McNeil. What he done here, and he was here for 2 years, we lost 2 games in 2 years, and all of a sudden, the opportunity come up because of what he'd achieved in this football club, that he went back to the football manager for East Perth. Greg Brio got the sack, so he was appointed coach of East Perth. It didn't get much better than that, so you had 2 blokes that you could probably say have been recycled, and yet look where they both finished up.
Environmentally friendly. What
Just one thing here, it's interesting, when Jerry was coaching, I mean, like you said, all grades won. All grades adopted the same game plan and everything. It was thorough, and as Sheriff said, it was something unique down here, Sheriff, wasn't it? So we were that far ahead, and it's like our coach now, Craney, you know, like all grades adopt the same game plan and all be, you know, strictly adhere to it. It's surprising what you can achieve, Craney. So, you know,
absolute unity,
going back, there's unity again, you know, like everyone buys in on what we do, fellas, and that's how you get a result.
What do you love and what do you hate about today's football?
Oh, I hate the possessions in the back half, you know, blokes get 40 possessions and 20 of them are uncontested.
Yep.
I like the old days when, you know, there's some contested,
And what do you love about it?
Oh, I like the quick movement of the ball, the skills are fantastic, but once again, I think some of the uncontested possessions.
That's you, Dogger. What do you love and hate about today's game?
Oh, probably a little bit like Maggot there. I like the physicality in the game, and I think...
Oh, really? There's a big shot.
Not that I was any tough player, but just taking the competitiveness now of the man-to-man contests. It's getting a little bit...
Section.
Yeah. It's a man's game. I believe that the competition and that inner strength and that ball to be won, you know, if you're a strong person, don't take that out of the game.
I can remember being a rookie at this club and having to front up and box with you on my first week of training. Let me assure you, I've still got scars and very deformed ribs from those days. Loves the physicality, absolutely. Any questions anybody would like to ask these legends of the club? Anyone have any question you want to fire up? Some of the current playing group, anything you want to ask? Nothing?
Choice if possible.
What wants ABC or doing all the above? A pumping shot. Last just a bit, we'll wind up and get one back to get a drink. But Oldie, what do you want to say to the current, not only the members and the playing group, but everybody here in the room? What's your parting shot for the advice for the club going forward?
I think it's already heading that way with what's been put in place. You create your own destiny. Hard work doesn't guarantee success, but it gives you the best opportunity for success. So this club gives everyone, whether you're a Colts player, elite player, reserves player, or even the netballers, the opportunity to represent a great club. It also gives you the opportunity to develop characteristics that will hopefully give you the opportunity to become a good citizen in our community. Things like sacrifice, dedication, and not about self, about thinking about others and doing the team things, all of those sort of things. And we've got a great opportunity for success this year, whatever form that may take. And I just really, you can't put an old head on young shoulders. Don't let the years go by without being your best. Come to training, be your best, learn, sure, party hard, have a great time, but you're out there playing a man's game. Step up to the plate, do what you can, enjoy it, and the friendships that you make will last a lifetime. It's something that's not tangible. I can't give it to you. You've got to earn it, but that's the great thing about it. If you earn it, it's a great feeling at the end.
Cheers, mate. Thank you for that. What else? What's that, Oldie?
All I can say is I reckon vote one for Oldie for Prime Minister.
He's one of the girls who doesn't believe in the White House.
No, he said it all. Like, what a great facility we got here, but as I said, this facility doesn't guarantee success. It's back in the hands of the people that are sitting at the table. There's so many people that are no longer with us, and I mean, we've been fortunate to have them part of our life. You know, the John DiBiase's, Sam Davies, Eric Davies, Sid Armstrong's, you know, it goes on and on, you know, like Mickey Thompson. It's just so many that probably you boys don't even know, but I certainly know, Oldie knows, all the people here know, and they've been part of this to make this home what it is today, and I just hope that you realise that that's part of our tradition, and that's why I'm so passionate, and I'll never change, because I know where it's come from.
Never a true word spoken. Wayne Watterson, ladies and gentlemen. And as always, Archie, if we could leave the final words to you, advice for the people in the room before we wrap it up.
Look, my advice to everyone, not just the people in the room, to everyone in this football club. Today I just looked it up, and between Lee Wright, Ian Cale, Peter Upson, Peter Old, Wayne Watterson, 5 of the greatest players that ever played for this football club, without any doubt. Hayward medal winners, fairest, best winners, everything. And the thing that I've noticed, because I did come to a couple of those seminars, and you've got players who played over 1,000 games who are prepared to put their hand up and still want to assist and help and work towards the future of the club. Those seminars that they had was excellent. So we can't just sit back. You know, they've got a plan for not the next 5 or 6, probably the next 10 years. And it's up to every one of us to embrace that plan, because look, they've got the enthusiasm, they've got the knowledge, they've got the expertise to put that plan into place. And we've all got to grab it, whether it be me, just, you know, as patron of the club, or blokes like Oldie and whatever. I mean, what other country football club could you tell me that get those 5 players that I've just mentioned still prepared to put their hand up and try to lead the club forward? Not very many. Not very many. So we've all got to jump on board, get behind blokes like that, get behind the board of the directors of the football